Bills 17, Pittsburgh Steelers 10. Duck regressed back into the duck.
Yeah, so people got mad at me for saying that a guy called Duck might struggle against the Bills defense this week. Turns out that a guy called Duck struggled pretty badly against the Bills defense this week.
Who got mad at you?
A whole bunch of people on Twitter. Podcast listeners, people listening to this right now.
They were mad because you
were upset.
Were you making fun of his name, or?
I just said that, look, it was a pretty good chance that a guy like him was not going to do well against a really good defense.
I mean, he was an undrafted free agent. Kind of looked like it yesterday.
Yeah.
And the Buffalo defense is really tough to play against, so it shouldn't be that big of a surprise. I did think the Steelers at home, the defense would be able to make enough plays to win the game. But Buffalo just continues to roll, man. 17-10. That D is legit.
Even the last play of the game was kind of funny, right? It's so they ran one play, needed to hurry up, spike the ball, run a play, whatever. James Washington, I didn't see what he ran the play before, but he was way down the field somewhere. He just ran a long way and then had to run his ass all the way back to the line of scrimmage. By the time he got to the line of scrimmage, he was wrecked, right? Basically, you
have to know that.
Yeah. And so as soon as this play starts, he jogs off the line of scrimmage, puffing and wheezing into his route, jogging his way to the corner. And that's the guy Duck thinks he should heave the ball in the direction of. That dude is just mailing it in on this play. He is knackered.
I thought Chris did a nice job showing it too. You've got Duck rolling to his left, throwing the ball off balance, and he just throws a line drive interception. When it's dude, it looked like a little Cody Kessler out there trying to make an off platform.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't have the arm to make that throw.
Did not.
Plus, he had a receiver that was look, I am done. Unless this ball comes right to me, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So Buffalo, Tre'Davious White, it's funny because Tre'Davious White, he's gotten beat a little bit this year, but overall he's been solid. And, he had the national stage to show off his skills. Mm-hmm. Beautiful interception early on. He looked like he was really hurt and then ends up coming back into the game. He made some really nice plays. I really love what Buffalo has done with their linebackers, even though, Matt Milano's got the number 6 coverage grade among our linebackers. Tremaine Edmonds has been a little bit more up and down, but you could still see his playmaking ability, right? What he brings into the middle of the defense. Edmonds and Milano are really active. I mean, Buffalo, it really is, there's no real superstar there, right? Tre'Davious White's a star, I'd say. Micah Hyde has turned himself into just a really good, solid player, but it's just an awesome team defense that for the second straight year is top 5 in EPA allowed and just really strong and solid across the board. I feel like we say this every single week. This
was also the Edmonds Bowl.
It was. All the Edmonds played.
All 3 of them. I didn't even realize that the running back was also an Edmonds brother. By the way, it's hilarious to me that they keep talking about them as 2 first-round picks. I mean, sort of. 1 first-round pick and a guy that, they turned in the wrong card or whatever. But,
oh, man.
Yeah, harsh. Just the idea that Terrell Edmonds is a first-round player is just absurd on the face of it.
Other people had him in the 3rd, Sam. They had him as high as the 3rd.
I did not find a single human being that had him above the 5th.
Some people had him.
Where's that guy? I need to look at that guy's name. The dude that tracks the draft stock over time.
Oh,
because his must be hilarious.
Yeah.
And even now, right? Tremaine, who had all the big time talent and the athleticism and the youth, everything on his side, he's coming good. He looks really quite handy at times this season. Terrell remains Terrell, which is at best an average safety.
Yeah. As much as I say the Bills are solid defensively, they somehow missed 16 tackles, which is incredible. Usually you have a 16 missed tackle game. It's all right, you must have given up 40.
Everybody, this game generally was very sloppy in terms of whether it's missed tackles, fumbles, ball security, everything was iffy in this game.
I just think Buffalo overall, I always use the phrase, makes life difficult on opposing quarterbacks. They do mostly tight window throws and, mixing up coverages just enough. They're basic, but they mix things up just enough to keep things off balance. Other side of the ball, your boy Bud Dupree all of a sudden shut out again.
Again, right?
He's just, been up and down a lot.
Cameron Hayward, beastly. TJ Watt, beastly.
Yeah.
Bud Dupree, nothing. Almost entirely blanked from the stat sheet.
Yeah.
Missed as many tackles as he made and got zero pressure. TJ Watt, so a lot of people were putting him in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. So I'm going to
Where do you think he stacks up?
People are saying that like this year, the Defensive Player of the Year, it's the race is wide open. It's anybody's to have, right? And I'm going to contradict myself in the space of about 12 seconds here. I'm going to make a case this week in an article on PFF.com that Eric Kendricks is actually putting together a Defensive Player of the Year kind of season, right? And actually has the strongest case of the Vikings, even though Donnell Hunter is the guy everybody's talking about because he has a lot of sacks.
Right.
I think Kendricks is the best player there and one of the best players on defense this season and would be one of the players on that list, the short list of Defensive Player of the Year candidates. But honestly, it's only a short list because people got bored giving it to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald is still the best defensive player in the game by a reasonable distance. But he doesn't have 20 sacks like he did a year ago, so now we're looking elsewhere.
Does he have like a quiet 12?
Yeah, something like that. I'm pretty sure he's somewhere in the like low to mid, low teens. And because that's not 20, it's like, oh, Aaron Donald sucks this year.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald is still the best defensive player in the game.
That used to get attention for interior defensive linemen. Now it's like, oh, you dropped off by 8.
And again, because 12. because you're coming from 20. It's like, well, like, so the season before he had 13 and he was Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So, and the season before that,
he's still dominating as far as getting pressure. He's moved to the edge.
Right.
He's done a lot of different things.
This, in fact, is already the second best season he has just in terms of sacks. And if he gets one more in the last 2 games, he'll tie his second best. It's just that he's coming from 21. So,
but you're going to lay out Donald as the guy, or there are actual because there's a lot of guys who at least have their name in the mix, right?
Yeah, I haven't actually worked out exactly what that article looks like since you ruined it in the production meeting we had.
What do you mean?
Well, I had a whole plan, and then you came out and took a giant steaming crap all over it, and now I'm not entirely sure what the article looks like.
Pretty sure I made it better.
I don't think you did.
I made it something that the listeners are going to want to read.
Yeah. Anyway, at some point, I'm going to be writing about Defensive Player of the Year and Eric Kendricks in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not entirely sure what that looks like yet.
All right. Well, everybody go read Sam's article this week. It's going to be fire, as the kids say. Wow. And, we have millions of listeners here.
Okay, Boomer.
Did Boomer drop that? Oh.
You're so Boomer, you don't even get the joke.
I did. I get the joke now. But I thought, I was like, oh, Boomer Esiason said that too. And made him terrible. Yeah, that's a good job. I am old. Okay, Zennial.
Oh,
That's
God.
us. All right. Good job, Bills. Josh Allen had an up and down game, missed some throws, made some plays with his legs, threw some lasers for completions. So another one, just like the Brady and Trubisky, it all lands in a pretty average grade where if you want to skew positive on it, he does find ways to make plays in the fourth quarter.
You want to skew positive, Steve?
Yeah. That's me skewing positive on it.
Fair enough. All right.
An inconsistent performance again.
I did like the imagery they were painting. For some reason, they spent a lot of time talking about how small all of his skill position players were.
Yeah.
Not quite sure why we needed to, go that hard on that.
This big monster.
But like painting this image of you, like in the land of the Lilliputians, of Josh Allen stood there surrounded by a bunch of like 5'8" receivers and running backs.
Hey, those were
great imagery.
Those are the types of guys that they got to extract the MVP year out of Cam. Not the big monsters, the guys who got open and were fast and quick and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Good job, Bills. They're going to be playing for a potential bye next week with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
They're still alive.
So there were a few games this week that really swung like some playoff implications. So the Bills are legit, and so the Bills are A, legitimately still alive for that division, and B, this idea of them knocking off the Patriots is not nearly as ridiculous as it seemed earlier in the season.
Well, no, they lost 13-10 in the first matchup, yes, in Buffalo.
Right, but I think so that happened, and then a few weeks later,
was better at the time.
Yeah, and a few weeks later, I was sort of suggesting that they could potentially, beat them down the line. It was kind of, you scoffed at it, and I eventually came around to the idea that you were right. But now looking back at it again, it's like they could really beat New England.
They could.
At which point they would take the division. The Patriots would still get into the playoffs, but for the first time in a long time, they would have a crappy route through should they actually want to win anything.
So I made the comparison to remember the 2017 Jags. I kept saying they reminded me a lot of the Jets, the Rex Ryan Jets, where they had Mark Sanchez at quarterback who was inconsistent, but he can make some plays here. And if you watch Mark Sanchez enough those first couple of years, you'd be like, oh, he's in his first couple of years and he does some nice things. Like there were some games where Sanchez was really, really good. right? But largely that defense carried them in the run game and all that stuff, and they were running Wildcat a million times or whatever. The Bills also kind of resemble that a little bit, where the quarterback's okay and he does some nice things on the ground. He does enough to add value to the offense, but it's really a defensive-driven team in Buffalo, where in any given game, Josh Allen puts up 3 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, whatever, and Cole Beasley and John Brown make some plays, and it's like that's a tough team to beat. I mean, that's what this New England Buffalo matchup, which is Saturday at 4:30.
There's 3 games on Saturday.
Yeah, triple header on Saturday. You thought you had Saturdays off? Huh?
I really did.
No.
Dude, I got to break that to the missus. She's not going to be happy.
I'm free. My wife's heading back home Tuesday, so I'm like,
damn it,
wings.
See, my problem is right now that the green card application is I'm grounded, so they're not going to be leaving anytime soon.
Oh man,
I got no bachelor time coming up.
Nothing. Huh?
Nothing.
I've just got a ton of football watching over the next week until I go back and.
We should definitely do wings again, though.
Should do wings.
Dry rub.
Let's talk after the show. So it should be a good matchup. We'll be previewing it later in the week.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.